different nutrients here. In the first, you can see colorful fruits and vegetables. Okay. In the second pyramid layer, you can see proteins. In the third, you can see grains. In the fourth, you can see herbs, spices, healthy oils, etc. Okay. So these all nutrients are important for a living organism. This nutrient should be included in the living organisms. Okay. Now here you can see a food chain. Yes, you can see on the left hand side that food chain. Here you can see a grass that the leaves are eaten by the worms. Okay, that worm is eaten by the turtle and the turtle is eaten by the eagle. This is a food chain. Here the food chain shows that for nutrition each animal is depending upon one or the other. Okay. Now, first of all, we will see what is the definition of nutrition. The process of taking in and using the food which takes place in the living organism is called as nutrition. Means whatever food we are eating, okay, why are eating food? Because we want to get a nutrient in our foods. We should complete the whole diet. We should have the whole diet. We should have all types of nutrients in our food. Okay. So for that fulfilling, the process of taking in and using that food, this place which takes place in a living organism, this process is called as nutrition. I hope you have understood with the definition of the nutrition. Again, I am repeating, the process of intaking in and using the food, this process is called as nutrition. Okay. Now why there is need of nutrition? Now why we should have nutrition, full nutrition? Because that supplies energy for us. Okay. Our body requires energy to do some work. So that energy from where do you get? You get from food. And from food what do you get? Nutritions. Okay. Again, what is the second need for the nutrition? For growth and development of the body. Means our body needs to grow, and whatever development of the body is necessary, that development and the growth should take place in our body. Okay. And the third important is that the replace of the damaged cell and repair tissues. Means whatever cells are damaged in our body or tissues are damaged, that are repaired with the help of nutrition. If you are taking a proper nutrients, if ever any cell is damaged or tissue is damaged, that is automatically replaced with the help of nutrition. Then again, what is the fourth importance of the nutrition? To fight against the disease. Means if you are healthy, only that time you can fight against any type of disease. That means that you have to increase your immunity power. Okay. If you are increasing your immunity power, what you require? You require a nutritional diet. Okay. The diet which is useful for our health. Now in this lesson, we are going to study about different types of nutrition. Now here the nutrition is divided into two types: autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Okay. Now some organisms can produce their own food, thus nourish themselves. This is called as autotrophic nutrition. Now auto, the word auto means what? Preparation, having ability of preparing own food. So autotrophic means having the property of having the capacity of preparing the own food. That is called autotrophic nutrition. Okay. Generally in autotrophic nutrition, what does come? All the plants come, because plants can prepare their own food with the help of photosynthesis. Okay. With the help of photosynthesis, they can prepare their own food. So plants are modified into autotrophic nutrition. But some plants are not autotrophic, only some of them are there. Okay. So some plants which can prepare their own food, they are called as autotrophic nutrition. Okay, the next topic is heterotrophic. Heterotrophic nutrition means what? The organisms which depend upon other organisms or plants or animals for their food. Means some of the plants may don't have the ability of preparing their own food. Okay, so what they have to do if they are in search of food, if they are not able to prepare the food, what will they do? They will go to the other plant and they will depend on that plant for the food. Okay, so this type of nutrition the plants or animals which are having, they are called as heterotrophic nutrition. Hetero means they are not able to prepare their own food. Okay, understood the difference between autotrophic and heterotrophic? Autotrophic nutrition means they are able to prepare their own food, while heterotrophic nutrition means they are not able to prepare their own food. They have to depend on the other organism for their food. This is called as heterotrophic nutrition. Now, this is the photosynthesis. Now, some plants are able to prepare in the sunlight. For in sunlight, photosynthesis is prepared. Okay, how the photosynthesis is prepared you have studied in the 6th standard. In leaves the chloroplast is present. Okay, the leaves have some microscopic opening called as stomata. So that opening uh, takes the sunlight from the sun and it prepares their own food in the leaves. So chloroplast is present in leaves and it contains chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is the main thing in the leaves which prepare the food for plant in presence of sunlight. This whole process is called as photosynthesis. Okay, now in photosynthesis you also know that the plants or trees take in carbon dioxide and gives out oxygen. Okay, what is the leaves? As you all know that the leaves are producing food for the plant. Okay, so that food is transferred to all the parts of the plant from the leaves. Okay, so this is about photosynthesis. Now, the next topic is transport system in plants. Now, the plants are having two types of system. Okay, one is xylem and other is phloem. Here you can see the xylem is shown with the help of blue color, while as phloem is shown with the help of pink color. Okay, when you take the section of the root, in that if you see whatever the cells are colored with pink color, that cells are called as phloem. And if you take the section of the leaves, whatever the section you see in the blue color, that is of phloem. Means you can see that xylem and phloem is present in leaf, stems as well as root. Okay, so what xylem and phloem do? They do the work of transporting system. So as the word is transport system means what they do, they transport from one place to another. Now what does the xylem transport and what does the phloem transport? So xylem transports minerals and water. Okay, what does it supply, xylem? Xylem supplies minerals and waters to all the parts of the plant. And what does the phloem transports? The phloem transports food to the plant. Okay, so who transport minerals and water? Xylem. And who transport the food to the plant? That is phloem. So this is all about transport system in plant. So you have to remember only this much, that transport system of plant consists of xylem and phloem, where xylem helps in transporting minerals and water, while phloem helps in transporting food to the plants. Okay, then the next topic is biological fixation of the nitrogen. Now here you can see that there are two types of nitrogen fixation. You have studied in the first chapter about biological nitrogen fixation. Okay, here two microorganisms are present, that is rhizobium and acetobacter. Okay, now rhizobium microorganism, what it does, it converts the atmospheric nitrates into nitrogen. Means whatever nitrate is present in the atmosphere, that is converted into nitrogen. Okay, then the second microorganism is acetobacter. Okay, so what does the acetobacter microorganism do? Whatever nitrates are present in the soil, that is absorbed by the acetobacter microorganism. So these two microorganisms are the most important microorganisms which helps in biological fixation of nitrogen. Means it converts the nitrates into nitrogen. Then the next topic is symbiotic nutrition. Now here, what does the word symbiotic means? Where two plants live together to fulfill their needs. Okay, means you have seen most of the times that two plants are growing together. So if the two plants are going together, they are fulfilling their needs of nutrition, support and protection. Okay, so if you see this type of nutrition, that is called as symbiotic nutrition. Okay, so when two plants grow together with each other, what they do, they fulfill the need of nutrition, support and protection. Means if one is fulfilling the nutrition, other is doing the work of giving support and protection. So the two plants can live together to fulfill their need. So this type of nutrition is called as symbiotic nutrition. So lichens is the example of the symbiotic nitrogen. Here fungi and algae both come together and they live together to fulfill their need for nutrition. Okay, I hope you have understood with the help of the picture of lichens. This picture is the lichens picture. Okay, then symbiotic nutrition means the two plants live together for fulfilling the need. So lichen shows the symbiotic nutrition. Then is heterotrophic plants. Now heterotrophic, I said, as it depends upon for food on other plants, so it is called as heterotrophic plants. So do you know the examples of heterotrophic plants? Yes, we have studied in the first chapter. Coscuta and Lorianthus are the two examples of the heterotrophic plants. The plants that grow on the body parts of the other plant for the food is called as heterotrophic plants. And what are the examples? Coscuta and Lorianthus, these are the two plants which are the examples of the heterotrophic plants. Then insectivorous plants, this also we have studied in the first chapter. We also know that some plants feed upon the insects. Okay, the plants whose nutrients are not fulfilled from the soil, these plants, what they do, they depend upon the insects. So they feed upon the insects for fulfilling the nutrients. Means whatever nutrients they get from the soil, they are not sufficient for them. So what they do, they depend upon the insect for the food. So these type of nutrition that plant is having, these plants are called as insectivorous plants. These insectivorous plants generally grow in the soil, and water deficiency in nitrogen compounds, means there is deficiency in the soil of nitrogen compounds. So these plants go in search of insects. So whatever insect come in contact with these plants, they consume that insects and fulfill their need for nutrition. Okay. Here are the two examples of the insectivorous plants. One is the pitcher plant and other is the example called as Docera. Okay. Then saprophytic plants. The plants which depends upon food for dead and decaying bodies of the other organisms are called as saprophytic plants. Means what? These plants, whatever food they are obtaining from where? Dead and decaying bodies of the other organism. Means most of the time you have seen that the plants growing different unwanted uh, dead and decaying bodies from the plant is coming out. So what they do, they consume that these plants obtain the food from the dead and decaying bodies of the other organisms. So such types of plants are called as saprophytic plants. Okay, I hope this topic is also understood to you. Now the steps in nutrition. So what are the steps in nutrition? Now there are 5 steps in nutrition. First is egestion. So what is the meaning of egestion? The food is taken into the body. This process is called as egestion. Means whatever the food is taken by the organism into the body, this type of nutrition is called egestion. Okay. The second type of step of nutrition is digestion. Now whatever food is consumed by the body, okay, that has to be conserved. Whatever conserved food is there in is taken in egestion, that has to be broken down into the simple soluble form. So this simple soluble form is done in the process of digestion. Means whatever food you are taking, that food material is broken down into simple soluble forms. That process is done in digestion. Means whatever you are eating, that is that food is converted into simply soluble form. Okay. Then the third step is absorption. So whatever soluble form has been produced in the digestion, so what happens, they are transferred to blood. So this soluble food is transferred to blood. This process is called as absorption. Whatever soluble food, simple soluble form is prepared in digestion, that simple form is absorbed or transferred to the blood. So this type of uh, this process is called as absorption. Okay. In a first process, what we have seen, the intake of food by the body is called as egestion. In the second step, what we have seen, whatever food is consumed by the body, that is broken down into the simple soluble form. And in absorption, what we have studied, whatever soluble forms have been done in the digestion, that is absorbed or that is transferred to the blood. Okay. Now the fourth is assimilation. The word assimilation means what? The utilization of absorbed food by the cells and tissues for energy production, growth and repair. So whatever transfer of the supply of food, you can see whatever soluble form is there, that is transferred to blood. Okay. From blood, only the important or whatever food is useful for the cells and the tissues. Okay. Whatever uh, food is food that is in the soluble form is useful for cell and tissue is taken. So what the food does now, it gives energy. Okay. Energy is produced, then growth of cells and tissues is done in this assimilation, as well as damage or repair of the cells can be done in the assimilation process. Okay. So what does the soluble form that is transferred to the blood does? It gives energy, growth and repair of the cells and tissues. The fifth step is egestion, the removal of the waste product and the undigested food from the body. Now only the useful thing is taken in the assimilation process. In assimilation process, all the soluble form is taken in the form of is taken in the blood. Okay, now what about the unwanted soluble forms? So the removal of the unwanted food, that is done by the digestion process. Means whatever removal of the waste product or undigested food from the body is thrown out of the body, this process is called as digestion. Okay, first is ingestion, second is digestion, third is absorption, fourth is assimilation, and fifth is digestion. Now, holozoic types of nutrition in the animal. Now, what is holozoic? Holozoic means the nutrition which takes place in unicellular organism. Now, which is the unicellular organism? Unicellular means the organism which is having only one cell in the organism. Now, who is having one cell? Amoeba. So amoeba is having one cell. So it is a unicellular organism. Now you have seen the picture of amoeba. Those who have not observed the picture, you can see in the figure, you can see the amoeba. It is irregular in shape. It has nucleus. It has pseudopodia. Okay. Now we will see about the nutrition taken by the amoeba. The capture of the food by the surrounding of the food particle. If the amoeba sees any food particle in the surrounding, what it do? Now first thing you should know, what is the pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is the locomotory organ of the amoeba. With the help of pseudopodia, it can move from one place to another. If the amoeba sees the food particle, what it will do? It will move towards the food particle with the help of pseudopodia. Here you can see the pseudopodia has captured the food particle and it takes in the food particle. The different insects have different digestion. Okay, here you can see in the figure how the food is intaken by the amoeba. Here in the first process, you can see the amoeba is trying to move towards the food particle. So what with the help of pseudopodia, it moves from one place to another. Then with the help of pseudopodia, it captures the food. When it captures the food, what it does, it takes the food inside it, and then the digestion process of the food is taken. These types of nutrition is called as holozoic type of nutrition. As you all know that there are different types of insects having different type of nutrition. For example, mosquito. Okay, mosquito is having a needle-like mouth. Why it is having a needle-like mouth? Because it sucks the blood from the human body. Okay, so when the mosquito bites, after biting you have a pain, because when it pricks the needle in your body, you will not have pain, but when it sucks and when it flies away, after that time you will have the pain. Okay, so mosquito, which type of nutrition is there? It is having a needle-like mouth and it is sucking the blood from the body. Now, in butterfly, the butterfly is having proboscis. You have studied in 4th standard about the butterfly, how it feeds the food. It has a proboscis. So with the help of proboscis, it sucks the nectar from the flower. So this type of nutrition you can see in mosquito and butterfly. Now, according to the type of food, animals can also be classified into different types. Now, there are different types of animal. This nutrition you have seen in the plants, and in animals we have seen about unicellular animal, that is amoeba. What is the type of nutrition? Now we are also going to see different types and how the animals are classified into the different type of nutrition. Now first is herbivorous nutrition. As the word herbivorous is there, so what is the meaning? What it says, it herbivorous means they use directly the food. Okay, they depends upon the plants. Okay, on these animals depends upon the plants. So can you give an example? of the herbivorous animal? I can guess that you all know that rabbit is a herbivorous animal which eats grass. Okay, which eat grass or carrots. Okay, so herbivorous animals, the word only says herbi means plants. So the animal which eats plants is called as herbivorous animal. Even giraffe is a herbivorous animal. Then what about carnivorous? Carnivorous means these animals depends upon other animals for food. For example, lion, tiger. So these are carnivorous animals. Even they have pointed teeth to tear the animal and have the food. The next type is omnivorous animal. So what does the omnivorous means? Omnivorous is the example of the herbivorous and carnivorous. Means these animals depend upon plants as well as animals. This type of nutrition is called as omnivorous nutrition. Okay, this type of nutrition is called as omnivorous nutrition. Then scavengers. Now, what are scavengers? They are obtained from the dead bodies of the animals. Now, you must have seen the vulture, crow. These are depending, they are consuming the food from the dead organisms. So, they are called as scavenger. Scavenger means the animals which depend upon the dead organisms. So, which animals are eating the dead, remaining dead organisms? Example, crow and vulture. Whatever remains means after whatever tiger has finished after eating, so after that the crow or the vulture will come and whatever food it is there, it will start eating. Many a time you have seen, if the rat is dead on the road, so crow comes there and start eating it. So it depends upon the dead organism. It does not eat the living animals. It depends upon the dead organism, means which animals are already dead, they have the food from that types of animals. Now the next type is decomposers. Now decomposers, here what is the meaning of decomposer? Here the food is obtained from the decomposer are some microorganisms that obtain food from the dead bodies of the animals. Means microorganisms which feed on the dead organisms are called as decomposers. Okay, means whatever microbes are there. What are microbes? Microorganisms are the organisms which are not seen by the naked eyes, which are not seen by the naked eyes. This process is called as decompose microorganisms. So these microorganisms which depend upon dead organisms are called as decomposers. Now here we have studied about the 5 different types of animals according to their type of nutrition. Herbivorous means depending upon plants. Carnivorous means depending upon the animals. Omnivorous means depending upon both plants and animals. Whereas scavenger means depending upon the dead organisms. For example, crow or vulture. And in decomposer and scavenger are same, but in scavenger you can see the vulture and crow depending upon the dead organism, where in decomposers the microorganisms also depend on the these types of food. So these type of food is taken by the organisms such as microorganisms which are not seen by the naked eyes. They are called as decomposers. Okay, now the next type of nutrition we are going to study. Now we are going to study about saprozoic nutrition. Now what is about saprophytic nutrition? Now these animals you see in the slide, these animals are unicellular. Unicellular means having only one cell. Uni means one, cellular means cell. So the animals which are having single cell is called as unicellular. Okay. Now here, what does this organism do? They absorb the liquid organic material from the dead bodies of the other animals. Means what they do? They only feed on the liquid organic material. They don't eat any solid or any other thing. What they absorb? They absorb the liquid organic material from the dead bodies. For example, house flies. Now what does the house flies have? The house flies, the house flies depend upon the only liquid organic material. You have most of the time seen that the house flies are sitting on the food also, but they are not eating the food. Whatever the food they are observing in the liquid organic material form, and most of the time they are eating from the dead bodies. So they depend upon the dead bodies of the other animals. Now these house flies are coming in our house and sitting on the foods also. So these are harmful for us. So we should be aware. So we should cover the food, whatever is there present in our house, with the lid, or we can close the lid of the food. Why? To prevent the house flies. Now why we have to prevent from house flies? Because house flies are having saprozoic nutrition. Okay, saprozoic nutrition means they are absorbing liquid organic material from the dead bodies. Okay, they are also depending upon the dead bodies, but from dead bodies what they are taking inside? They only absorb the liquid organic material. Okay. Then the next example is parasite. Parasite is an organism that lives in other organism called as host and often harms it. Now parasite is an organism which is living on the other organism, which parasites are mostly found in the other organisms. It may be inside or it may be outside. It depends on the host for survival. It has to be in the host to live. Means what the parasite needs a host. Okay, host means it needs a person on which he can depend. Okay, to grow and multiply its number. So parasite can live independently. Now there are two types of parasites: endoparasites and ectoparasites. Okay, endoparasites means what? This live inside our body. Here you can have the example of tapeworm. Okay, tapeworm, you can find tapeworm or roundworm. Here you can see the picture that is found inside our stomach. Okay, so this is a parasite which needs a host to multiply. So it is present in our body, and it whatever nutrients we are taking inside, that nutrients is absorbed by the tapeworm or the roundworm inside our body, and it grows. Okay, so many times our stomach is paining and we are having a problem of stomach ache and all. So when we go to the doctor advise that have you taken a medicine or any other thing. So that time this parasite is an endo parasite, means you can see this parasite with your naked eyes, and which is living inside our body. Okay, now the second is ectoparasite. Now ectoparasite is the parasite which lives outside the body, not inside the body. Now where these are found? These are found on our head. Okay, most of time you will have that your head is scratching and all. So that means that you are having lice and lice in your head. Okay, जुए बोलते हैं ना हम लोग, जुए होते हैं बाल में. So now what does they do? They suck the blood from your body. For living, what is important? Then nutrition. What is to grow? What nutrients they need? They suck the blood from our head for living. So these are seen outside of the body. Okay. Now there are two types of parasite: ectoparasite and endoparasite. Ectoparasite means living outside the body. Example, lice. And the endoparasite means which live inside our body. Okay, so these type of parasites are examples such as tapeworm or roundworm. Okay, and ectoparasite examples are uh, lice, then bedbug. Bedbug is also the example of a parasite. It also feeds on the blood. It also sucks the blood from the body. Okay, so these are the examples of the parasites. Okay, here we have completed the parasites. Parasites are the organisms that lives on the other organism called as host. So we are the host for the parasites, and it is that parasite may be present inside or outside the body. If they are present inside the body, they are called as endoparasites, and if they are present outside the body, they are called as ectoparasites. Okay, then fungus. Fungus exist through the environment. Some of them are useful, for example, food or as the basis of the medication. Other are less desirable, such as mold on food or spores that causes disease. Now fungus, it is useful for preparing medicines. Even it is useful for preparing bakery products. Yeast is an example of a fungus which is help in making bakery products. In bakery products, most of the time yeast is used. Yeast is a fungus that is used for making bakery products. So it is the useful product. Means some fungus are useful while some are useful for making medicines. Okay. So we have come to the end of the lesson. In this lesson, we have studied different types of nutritions and in plants and animals. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Now we will be in the next session.